I've been asked by Dato Sri as one of the legal team to make the statement which I shall now read. Statement itu adalah dalam bahasa Inggeris dan terjemahan dalam bahasa Malaysia akan dihantar pada semua media melalui email dan salinan akan diberilah selepas in the process of being made and salinan itu akan diedarkan sebentar lagi. Saya akan baca statement and then we will take questions lah, ya, sekiranya perlu. The purpose of our press conference today is to respond to comments like being made by senior government officials, like what you see on the front page of the Straits Times. We consider these sort of statements completely inappropriate and tantamount to an interference into the investigation and further lends credence to the politicization of this investigation and to our complaint and our belief. It lends credence to our belief that this entire process has political motivations. Statements are being made by senior government officials, raise concerns as to the credible dispensation of the law and suggest that a political conspiracy is very much at play in smearing the credibility and reputation of our client. We will say that this conspiracy is not just involving politicians but also involving senior officials of the police and of the AG's chambers. Statements are being made imputing that Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim is not cooperating with the police. We are referring as an example to the comment made by Home Minister Syed Hamid Alba, reported on the front page of the Straits Times, page 3 of the Star, and covered in other printed and electronic media. Dato Syed Hamid should know better than to attempt to exert his influence on this matter. As a cabinet member, his comments are tantamount to interference in an ongoing investigation. He is quoted as saying, and this is the front page line, what is he afraid of? He can have his own doctor present when giving the sample. Besides being an inappropriate interference in the investigation, these comments show a fundamental misunderstanding of the concerns we are raising regarding the introduction of DNA evidence. In the 98-99 trials, Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim experienced the phenomenon of fabrication of DNA evidence. We had SAC Road 1 illegally removing DNA samples from forensic custody. In cross-examination of the prosecution witnesses, it was exposed that DNA taken from blood samples was planted on the infamous mattress. I'm sure some of you will remember, those of you around 10 years ago, the mattress going in and up and down the steps of the courtrooms. When confronted with this fact, the prosecution amended their charge and persuaded the judge, Augustine Paul, to expunge the entire DNA evidence from the record, preventing Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim's lawyers from responding at that time. The persons who were implicated in the fabrication of evidence during Dato Sri Anwar's 98-99 trials were Tan Sri Gani Patel, the Attorney General, then Senior Prosecutor Tan Sri Musa Hassan, then the IO, Road 1, then ASP, and they are the same players who are involved in the current case. Today they are in much more powerful positions within the law enforcement apparatus. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim has even more reason to believe of the probability that DNA evidence will be fabricated once again. This is reasonable because the complainant remains in police custody since 28th of June and the police are also in possession of Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim's DNA from the earlier case. It doesn't take much imagination to imagine what is possible. Saiful is in their possession. Dato Sri Anwar's DNA is also in police possession. Our client's concerns are therefore not resolved, as Syed Hamid believes, by Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim handing over a DNA sample either through his own doctor or to an international forensic expert. In short, what we're saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that is not the concern Dato Sri Anwar has expressed. So the responses of saying, oh, what's wrong if he hands it over to his own doctor, let's bring in an international forensic team, these do not address those concerns. It's not the handing over the sample. It is what has already happened or might happened with Saiful and the DNA in the possession of the police. As far as we are concerned, it would have to be independently verified first that all medical examinations and samples taken relating to the complainant were done professionally and without any interference from the police before Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim will consider participating in any DNA analysis. And it may well be that we have to wait for a full court process to see whether that can be shown to our confidence or to the confidence of the public. We also reiterate there has yet to be any credible justification for resorting to DNA analysis when the police report made by the complainant remains shrouded in secrecy and no evidence substantiating the allegations are made available. As Datuk Sri Anwar said yesterday, we have asked repeatedly for the police report and we still haven't seen it. It is also false to imply that Datuk Sri Anwar was not cooperating with the police, as some statements have been made. He agreed to meet with the police at a pre-arranged date and time. He gave a lengthy 5-hour statement, consented and voluntarily submitted to a strip search and measurements of his private parts. Again, contrary to the unnamed sources in the new Straits Times today at page 6, who, I'm sorry to say this, who, I'm not sure this is entirely in accordance with journalistic ethics, you quote an unnamed source, hospital authorities, who say that this did not happen. And we are saying that's a false statement. He was stripped naked, he was measured, for the record. Finally, we want to say, we would reiterate that he made that lengthy statement, 5 hours on Tuesday, half an hour on Wednesday morning, even though he could have exercised his rights within the law to have remained completely silent, as the contents of the complainant's police report were not made known to him. So, Datuk Sri Anwar has repeatedly said these allegations are false, it's a complete fabrication. He was ready to meet the police and give them the full facts, answer all the questions. But as his lawyers had already advised him, you could have chosen, and in fact, some of the lawyers still maintain the position he should have stayed silent. We said no, he's got nothing to hide, and he gave answered all the questions that the police put to him over that period of time. So we conclude by saying we're calling upon ministers such as Minister Hamid, stop making these allegations, stop politicizing, stop interfering with the investigation or attempting to influence the investigation with these sort of comments. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, slightly unrelated but connected issue. You will recollect that the police served on Datuk Sri Anwar's house, on the residence here, an order from the Magistrates Court which was served here on Sunday. The order that said that he was not to go anywhere near Parliament House on Monday, and he was not to be anywhere within a 5-kilometer radius of Parliament House. We would also like to point out that this house is within that 5-kilometer radius, which effectively put him under house arrest for that period, for that day, Monday. The order refers to Monday at 10 a.m. You will recollect that on Monday afternoon, the police had required him to be present at IPK for a statement at 2 p.m. The same police force made the application to the Magistrates Court and got an order which effectively prevented him from going out of this house to that statement, to IPK to record his statement. Anyway, we have today filed, with this afternoon, Dr. Sri's lawyers, the firm of Ranjit, Oi and Robert Lau, are filing an application to set aside that order on the basis that the information given to the Magistrates Court was false, was misleading, and did not have any particulars to substantiate the allegations that were made in the affidavit produced to the Magistrates Court. And that application is being filed today, and we are asking for that order to be set aside. The order is academic, yes, but it's a matter of principle that we will not allow what was stated there to stand unrebutted, and this is our response to it. Okay, so that's all we wish to announce, ladies and gentlemen. Are there any questions?